Let us read the next lines. The day of the ball means party, approached. Now it was near. And Madame Loisel, in English you can say Loisel also, otherwise it is a French name, seemed sad, disturbed and anxious. Now see, her dress is ready, but why she is sad, disturbed and anxious? Nevertheless, her dress was nearly ready, right? Still see, her dress is ready, still she is sad, disturbed and anxious. Her husband said to her one evening, then her husband asked her, what is the matter with you? Now what is the matter with you? Your dress is ready. You have acted strangely for 2 or 3 days. That you have been behaving strangely for 2 to 3 days. Right? And she responded, I am vexed, I am stressed, I am tensed, I am irritated. Not have a jewel. She says, yes, my dress is ready, but I don't have any jewelry to wear. Nothing to adorn. Adorn means decorate myself with. I shall have such a poverty-stricken look. And if she will only wear this dress and she will not wear any jewelry, so in that party, she will look poverty-stricken, as if she belongs to a very poor family, right? Because other women in that party where VIPs, ministers will be there, they will be wearing jewelry. I would prefer not to go to this party. So again she says that she would prefer not to go to this party. Husband replied, you can wear some natural flowers at place of jewelry. Husband says you can wear some natural flowers. And he says in this season they look very chic, they look very stylish. She was not convinced, but she is not convinced that she will wear some jewelry made up of flowers. She says no, there is nothing more humiliating than to have a shabby air. Shabby air means shabby looks in the midst of rich women. In the middle of rich women, if she would wear flowers, jewelry made up of flowers, it will be very humiliating. Then her husband cried out. Cried out means he spoke in a loud voice. How stupid we are. And he says, go and find your friend, Madame Forestier, who is very rich, who was with you in convent school, and ask her to lend you her jewels, that you borrow jewels from her. Then she also uttered a cry of joy, and she says, it is true. That fine, she is convinced with this idea that she can go and borrow jewelry from her friend. The next day, she took herself to her friend's house. See how it is written here, she took herself to her friend's house. So that means she went to her friend's house and related her story of distress. She narrated her story of difficulty, problem, what was tension. Madame Forestier went to her closet, went to her almirah, took out a large jewelry case, brought it, opened it and said, choose my dear. So she opens it and she says, choose my dear. She saw at first some bracelets. First Matilda tried some bracelets, then a collar of pearls. Collar means that just touches here. So that is collar of pearls, not long like hanging. Then a Venetian cross of gold, because these people they wear these crosses and all also, cross, and jewels of admirable workmanship, where like admirable work was done. So those kind of jewels were also there. So she tried the jewels before the glass, before the mirror, hesitated, but could neither decide to take them nor leave them. But she is not able to decide whether she should take these or not. Fine. Then she asked, have you nothing more? See, she has tried so many things, so many jewels were there in that case. But then also she is saying, have you nothing more? That do you have something else? So that is why she was not able to decide whether to take them or leave them. She is not satisfied whatever like her friend was showing to her. So she asked that, do you have anything else? Then friend says, why yes, I have. Look for yourself. That you see yourself in the closet. I don't know what will please you. And she says that actually I don't know that what are you looking for, which type of jewelry you are looking for, what will please you. Then suddenly she found in a black satin box a superb necklace of diamonds. And her hands trembled, her hands were shaking. When she took it out, right, she placed it about her throat here, against her dress, whatever she was wearing, and was ecstatic. She was happy and excited finding that necklace. Then she asked in a hesitating voice. Now see, it's a diamond necklace and she is hesitating. And she says, could you lend me this? Only this? She tells her friend. She asks her friends, and her friend, Madame Forestier, says, why yes, certainly, yes, you can take it. She fell upon the neck of her friend, embraced her, right, with passion, then went away with her treasure, then went away with that necklace. The day of the ball arrived, the day of the party arrived finally. Madame Loisel was a great success, and she got great success in that party. She was the prettiest of all, elegant, stylish, gracious also. She was looking very graceful, smiling and full of joy. All the men noticed her, asked her name, and wanted to be presented. See, this only she wanted, that everybody would have noticed her, and this happened in the party. All the men noticed her, asked her name, and wanted her to introduce herself. She danced with enthusiasm, intoxicated with pleasure. Intoxicated, she was highly pleased, right? Thinking of nothing but all this admiration, that everybody was admiring her. This victory so complete and sweet to her heart. And this victory, this success of the party was so complete and sweet to her heart. She went home towards 4 o'clock in the morning, 4 a.m. in the morning. Her husband had been half asleep in one of the little saloons since midnight. As she was enjoying the party, her husband, around 12 o'clock, he went to the cabins. There were cabins outside, saloons outside. So he went there and slept there, just outside that party hall, with 3 other gentlemen. And he was not alone. There were 3 other gentlemen with him, whose wives were enjoying themselves very much. Whose wives were enjoying themselves in the party. When they were leaving at 4 a.m., husband threw around her shoulders the modest wraps. See, wrap is a shawl. Now, modest wrap means, see, party dress, what she was wearing, that was very costly, but this shawl was not costly one. Her husband had brought her. Fine. So it was cold in the morning. He threw around her shoulders the modest wraps. They had carried whose poverty clashed, and that shawls, that wraps, poverty, like as it was not costly, so it was not matching with that party dress. Whose poverty, so that shawl's poverty clashed with the elegance of ball costume. Ball costume means party dress. She wished to hurry away in order not to be noticed by other women. Now, as she was like wearing that modest wrap, so that time she didn't want to be noticed by other women, and who were wrapping themselves in rich furs, because other women, they were wrapping themselves in rich fur shawls, those furry shawls, right? And they were very costly. Loisel detained her. Then her husband stopped her. He told her, wait, I am going to call a cab, right? Cab is that tonga, that horse one, that cart, horse cart. But she would not listen. That time she didn't want to listen. she descended, she got down the stairs rapidly. Rapidly means quickly. When they were in the street, they found no carriage, and when they were walking in the street and they were looking for that tonga, that horse cart, they did not get any, and they began to seek for one, and that time they wanted one cab. Hailing the coachman, and they were calling. Hailing means calling the coachmen. Coachmen were those cab driver, those horse cart drivers. So they were calling them. When they saw at a distance, even when they saw them from a distance, they were calling them. Even when these coachmen, they were at a distance, so they were calling them. He took them as far as their doors. So one they got. They walked along toward the river, hopeless and shivering. Then they started walking along the river and they were hopeless. They thought that they would not get any cab and they were shivering. But finally, they found one of those old carriages that one sees in Paris after nightfall. This time, after nightfall, when day is about to begin, that time they see there, they get old kind of carriages, which like people they find in Paris. So they also got one. And it took them as far as their door, and they went wearily up to their apartment. Fine, so one cab dropped them at their door, and then they went wearily. Wearily means they were very tired. So they went up to their apartment. It was all over for her, for this lady, Madame Loisel. It was all over, so that day was over. Sometimes it happens that you celebrate your birthday very nicely, and around 12 o'clock then you feel that okay, the day is over. So that is same for her. And so it was all over for Matilda, for Madame Loisel, and on his part, but for husband, he remembered that he would have to be at the office by 10 o'clock. See, 4 o'clock they started from that party, they left the party, and it must be around 5:30 or 6, and 10 o'clock again husband has to reach his office. That is why he was sleeping in that cabin. She removed the wraps. Then this Matilda, Madame Loisel, she removed her shawl from her shoulders before the glass, before the mirror, for a final view of herself in her glory. So she wanted to look at herself last time. Suddenly she uttered a cry. Her necklace was not around her neck. Loisel, already half undressed, her husband, as he was changing, so he was half undressed, asked, "What is the matter? What had happened?" She turned towards him excitedly, not with happiness. I no longer have Madame Forestier's necklace, she says, Matilda says. And husband arose means he stood up in dismay, and he was not happy at all hearing this. What? How is that? It is not possible. And they looked in the folds of the dress. Then they checked in the folds of the dress. Maybe like while removing her dress, it got stuck there. In the folds of the cloak also. Cloak is that long gown that you wear like over the dress, over the other clothes. In the pockets everywhere, they could not find it. He asked, "You are sure you still had it when we left the minister's house?" Then husband asked Matilda that, "Are you sure that when we left the party you were wearing it?" She says, "Yes, I felt it as we came out." Felt it, so she touched like this and she felt it as they came out. But if you had lost it to the street, if you had lost it in the street, we should have heard it. We should have heard it fall, because it was quiet that time. It was not crowd. There was no crowd. There was no traffic sound. So husband says that if you had lost it in the street, we should have heard it fall. So it must be in the cab. Yes, it is possible. Did you take the number? No. And did you notice what it was? That which kind of cab, which kind of carriage it was? Again, no. They looked at each other, utterly cast down. Cast down, I have written here. Utterly, they were feeling ashamed because it was borrowed necklace and they had misplaced. Finally, Loisel dressed himself again. Now husband who has to reach his office at 10 a.m. and now they are reaching home. Again he dressed up and now he will go and look for it. I'm going, he said, over the track where we went on foot. So first of all he will check over the track where they were walking to see if I can find it. And he went. She remained in her evening gown, not having the force to go to bed. Now she has lost that necklace. Now she doesn't have strength that she goes to the bed and she sleeps. Towards 7 o'clock, her husband returned. See, it's 7 o'clock, 10 o'clock again he has to reach his office. He had found nothing. He went to the police and to the cab offices because they didn't know the number. They did not see which kind of cab it was. So he had to go to different cab offices and put an advertisement in the newspapers offering a reward. She waited all day in a state of bewilderment. She was so confused. She was so much under stress, under tension. Before this frightful disaster, Loisel returned in the evening. Then husband in the morning, whatever he could do, and then he gave advertisement on the newspaper. He offered a reward also, and then he attended his office, and then he came back in the evening. His face pale. He also turned yellow. He had discovered nothing. He couldn't find that necklace. He said, write to your friend that you have broken the clasp. Clasp is that buckle with which you attach it. So he suggests that you tell your friend that that clasp of the necklace is broken and that you will have it repaired, that you need some time to get it repaired. That will give us time. She wrote as he dictated. So whatever her husband said, so she wrote. See, like for attending that party, they borrowed a necklace and such a big problem. At the end of a week, they had lost all hope. 1 week had gone. Now they have lost the hope. Now they have to return it to the friend. And Loisel, older by 5 years, declared, we must replace this jewel. Now they are declaring, now they have to purchase a new. They cannot tell this to her friend that they have lost it. In a shop of Palais Royal, this is a French name, Royal Palace you may say, they found a chaplet of diamonds. So they found this kind of, like she borrowed that kind of necklace, which seemed to them exactly like the one that they had lost. It was valued at 40,000 francs. 40,000 francs does not mean 40,000. You multiply it by 70, 80, so like that. They could get it for 36,000. And after bargaining also, they had to purchase it for 36,000 francs. Loisel possessed 18,000 francs. 18,000 Loisel he had, which his father had left him. He borrowed the rest. 18 he had, so out of 36, rest he had to borrow from those money lenders on interest. He made ruinous promises. Then he had to make such promises which ruined them. Now after that their life was miserable. Took money from, see this I have written here, usurers, money lenders, and the whole race of lenders. Then he went to get the new necklace, depositing on the merchant's counter. Obviously nobody will give them time, okay, you deposit after 6 months. On merchant's table they have to put cash. 36,000 francs. When Madame Loisel took back the jewels to Madame Forestier, the letter, this letter means Madame Forestier, said to her in a frigid tone, frigid is cold tone, because they took so much of time, they were not returning it, and she is feeling this way, her friend. You should have returned them to me sooner, for I might have needed them. that she might have required that same necklace. Madame Forestier did not open the jewel box, as Madame Loisel feared she would. See, again, though they had purchased new, but then also they had fear that if she would open that box and if Madame Forestier, her friend, would see, she may come to know that it is not the same one. So still they were fearing. What would she think if she should perceive the substitution? Perceive means notice that what Madame Forestier will think if she will notice that substitution, that it is not the same one, they have replaced it. What should she say? What would she take her for a robber, that she will think that they have cheated her, they have replaced that? Madame Loisel now knew the horrible life of necessity. This we are talking about Matilda. She did her part, however, completely, heroically. What is this part? That she has returned at last necklace to her friend. It was necessary to pay this frightful debt, but now this debt loan, now they have to repay this loan which they had borrowed. Out of 36,000, 18,000 they had, and rest they borrowed on interest. Then she would pay it. They sent away the maid, and how now they will manage? How they manage then? They sent away the maid also. They changed their lodgings also, where they were staying earlier. Now they have shifted from there. They rented some room in an attic, a small room in an attic. She learned the odious work of a kitchen. Now she started working in the kitchen. All work she started doing herself. She washed the dishes, utensils. She washed the soiled linen. Soiled linen means clothes. Otherwise soiled, like soil, full of soil. Their clothes and dish clothes, which she hung on the line to dry. So this work also she was doing herself. She took down the refuse to the street each morning. That garbage also she was throwing herself each morning, and brought up the water, stopping at each landing to catch his breath. And this whole work she was doing herself the whole day, and then at intervals, like she was taking breath also, she was relaxing also. And clothed like a woman of the people, she went to the grocers, the butchers and the fruiterers. So there also she was going herself, and she was bargaining with them. And her husband worked evenings, putting the books of some merchants in order, and nights he often did copying at 5 sous a page. So this work also he was doing, that he was copying some notes and he was getting 5 sous. Sous is a very small amount. It's not franc. Sous is that smaller unit of that. And this life lasted for 10 years. And this kind of life lasted for 10 years for them. Her husband also was doing extra job in the evening. At night also he was copying some pages. And at the end of 10 years, they had restored all. At last they paid that amount. Madame Loisel, Matilda, seemed old now. Now she started looking old. She had become a strong, hard woman, the crude woman of the poor household. Her hair badly dressed, because maybe she was not getting shampoos, that serum and all these things. So hair was also badly dressed. Her skirts awry. Skirts means her clothes were also, like, condition was not good. Her hands red. She spoke in a loud tone and washed the floors with large pails of water. But sometimes when her husband was at the office, she would seat herself before the window and think of that evening party of former times. See, then also she was remembering that party. Sometimes she used to sit near the window and she used to remember that party. So that was a good memory for her. But they are paying. For 10 years they had to pay for that. And think of that evening party of former times, means earlier times, of that ball where she was no beautiful, where she was so beautiful and so flattered. Everybody flattered. How would it have been if she had not lost the necklace? And she was thinking that how was the time if she did not lose that necklace, how she would have enjoyed, how she would have recalled that party. Many times it happens that you enjoy few moments so much, and then after that something bad happens. It happens with me also. Then Madame Loisel was affected. Should she speak to her? No, it's not here. It's how would it have been if she had not lost the necklace? Who knows? How singular is life, and how full of changes. How small a thing will ruin or save one. Small thing, this small incident had ruined their life. One Sunday, as she was taking a walk in the Champs-Élysées, this is also a place in France very famous, to rid herself of the cares of the week, she suddenly perceived is noticed a woman walking with a child. Who was she? It was Madame Forestier, and she was still young, still pretty, still attractive. Already she used to feel bad when she used to visit her place. She used to cry after that. Madame Loisel was affected. Should she speak to her? Now she is thinking that for 10 years they paid for that necklace. Now she is thinking that should she talk about that necklace to her? Yes, certainly. And now that she had paid, now they have paid, she would tell her all. Why not? She approached her. She went near her. Good morning, Jane. Her friend did not recognize her. It's not that deliberately she did not recognize her, because this Matilda, she's looking so old, her hair also badly dressed. She did not recognize her. She could not recognize her, and was astonished, surprised to be so familiarly addressed. The way she called her, like she was so surprised that who called her like this, because she is her childhood friend. By this common personage character, she stammered, but madam, I don't know, you must be mistaken. No, I am Matilda Loisel. Her friend uttered a cry of astonishment. She was so surprised. Oh, my poor Matilda, how you have changed. Yes, I have had some hard days. Then she tells that yes, I had some hard days since I saw you, and some miserable ones, and all because of you. See how she's saying. Because of me? How is that? You recall the diamond necklace that you loaned me to wear to the minister's ball, to the minister's party? Yes, very well. Well, I lost it. Now Matilda is telling that that time I lost it. How is that, since you returned it to me? But that Madame Forestier, she says, but you returned it to me. I returned another to you, exactly like it. And it has taken us 10 years to pay for it. How can you can understand that it was not easy for us who have nothing. But it is finished, and I am decently content. She says it is finished means now they have paid all the amount, all the loan. Now she is content, satisfied. Madame Forestier stopped short. She said, you say that you bought a diamond necklace to replace mine. Diamond necklace. Yes, you did not perceive it then, that you did not notice it then, that it was not the same one, it was a substitute. Madame Forestier was touched and took both her hands as she replied, oh, my poor Matilda, mine were false. They were not real diamonds, they were false diamonds. They were not worth over 500 francs, and they were only worth 500 francs and they paid 36,000 francs. And see, this could also happen that as she didn't know that Matilda had returned them that diamond necklace, it was also possible that was a diamond necklace and she would have just thrown or misplaced it somewhere like this. So we should always learn a lesson. You will tell me at the afterwards that what lesson have you learned from this story, right?